So just to kind of show you what I'm doing here, I like to put 2 pieces of wood under the wheels of the jack. That way, if you're doing it on the pavement, especially in the summertime when it's hotter, the wheels will put deviations in the asphalt. You need to change the rear brakes on your Enclave. You're at the right place, because I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it. If you don't mind giving this video a thumbs up on your way in, and let's get the wheel off and let's see how easy it is to remove, replace, and get your car back on the road. So we got the wheel off. We're getting ready to take the caliper off. But before we do that, what do we do? What's next? Do you know?
Well, I mean, you need to find the right tools.
We do need to find the right tools, but before that, we gotta let the pressure off. You forgot about that. Let's go do that before we get any further, okay? We gotta pop the hood. How do we pop up the hood? There's a lever in there. Yep, there's the lever. You just push it this way. You gotta loosen that up. Did you hear that pressure in there? Now we're ready to get back to business. Went ahead and stuck on a 14 millimeter on the back side with a 17 millimeter to hold this nut, because whenever you back out that bolt, you're gonna have to hold this end. And I got that out of the toolkit that I've showed you before in some other videos that I made. That nice kit off of Amazon. You're probably asking, why am I not using the socket set? Well, I only have so much room right here that I can't get the socket set in there, so I'm just using the regular open-end wrench kit. We got the 2 bolts out. You can kind of see these bolts are very clean, so we can tell these brakes have never been changed before. And the caliper comes just off. Not easy. And this is where you have to be careful, because you got your brake line here. We will come back to this. We'll set this up here somewhere so that it won't fall. Grab yourself a screwdriver, any screwdriver, as long as it's a flat one. Now you want to be careful not to damage the rotor. Hear how that sounds? These slides in here need lubed up good, which we're going to take care of that then. There's how they look. Look how thin they are. There's a specification of how thin they should be, but the garage told me they will need changed by the next inspection. We're going to use gum out. Now I'll have it in the link below that you can get it actually cheaper on Amazon. I didn't want to wait for it to come because today was a beautiful day and I wanted to do my brakes today. So first, before I do that, I took this little bracket off. I forget what it's called. There's one up top here as well. You could reuse those, but to ensure your brakes work perfect every time, we want to put the new ones on and then use some of this brake cleaner to clean all your parts and get rid of all the road dirt. We want to put these back in. The reason why I suggest reusing these, you can see these here, they have some dirt build up and then there's a little bit of rust and stuff on them. These are what they call the slides, and when these brakes are in here sliding back and forth to go against the rotor, you want to make sure they move nice and easy. So you can just slip these over top and they just snap right into place. Put one on the bottom and one on the top. Okay, while that brake cleaner is doing its job and drying, which is not going to take long, but I wanted to take note here. Look how thin these pads are, and look how thick the new ones are. These little tabs on here is your indicators to let you know, because sometimes they wear out before the next inspection if your state is like mine where it's once a year. These little pieces, this little tab here is designed that when this wears down and it'll go against the edge of this bracket, not sure what it's called, it's like an indicator, and it'll go against the rotor when it gets wore down that far, and you'll hear screech and you'll be like, man, what's that noise? What is that noise when I hit the brakes? It means change me or I'm going to destroy the rotor. Now you might be asking, why not change the rotor out? There's a lot of videos on YouTube that shows you how to do that. Some garages say go ahead and change that whenever you change your brakes. I'm not going to go ahead and change that. When you test drive your car and you slam on the brakes, does the brakes pulsate and that kind of stuff, that's a quick sign that your rotors are warped, you should change out the rotors. I'm not going to do that on mine because we have low miles and the garage says that the rotors are okay, because you got to keep in mind there's a minimum wall thickness on these, so you have to check the specifications on that and then check yours. Make sure there's any visible cracks anywhere or rust buildup. So that's something to keep in mind whenever you're changing the brakes on your Enclave. The brakes now, we're getting ready to put them on. Comes with this little backing and they just snap in place. Not on the side the pad is, but on the inside where the cylinder pushes against. Okay, now the kit here comes with a silicone compound. You can use that on here to make sure the brakes operate and move smoothly. I like using anti-seize. That's what I'm used to using on when I was working at the factory. So there'll be a link of this in the description below. It's pretty inexpensive, it's a small tube. This is called anti-seize. Some people call it never seize. So go ahead and put a little bit of this on the slides, like that, up top, down below, and put it on the ends of the brakes, because they'll be inside the slides there. Put a little bit of that on there. And then put a little bit right here as well. That helps for the chattering for whenever the brakes are fairly new. And don't do that and get it on your fingers, because it don't come off very easy. And I should have put those on before I put that on. But don't get this never seize on your clothes. Your mom or your wife is not going to be very happy because it won't come out. Next, you want to grab yourself a big pipe wrench. Now this one here I had laying around is 24 inch, and this is the easiest way that I've learned to send back the cylinder. Get yourself a piece of wood, put in between the jaws of the cylinder. That way it protects it so the teeth on there don't break it apart. And you want to evenly push it back. Now you can see this piece of wood is against the housing here, so you know that the cylinder is in the whole way. So now this comes off. Now what we want to do is put a little bit of never seize on this here and here. And then we'll slide that right back into place. Now you've seen that when this is off, this comes out, so you just have to push that in. Now I like to use a locker. Some people call it Loctite. You got all different kinds. You got red, you got blue, you got purple. But the best one, I think, for myself and past experiences, is to use the blue. And I have a link below on that as well. You can get different sizes. It has an expiration date on it. And so that's why it's good to get small amount. That way you're not wasting money and then turn away, because how often do you change brakes or how often do you work on your car? Not that often. And then you'll have to use a razor blade to cut the end off. And then you want this is all the amount you need to put on. Whoops, that is more than enough. Put a little bit of blue on that one and a little bit of blue on that one. We'll put these back into place. Then use your 17 millimeter to hold the nut in the back. And then your open end 14 millimeter that you took it off with. Tighten it up. This is a nice little torque wrench that I got off Amazon as well. It's pretty inexpensive. I forget how much I paid for it, but it's not a whole lot. It's called the E-Tool Lab. If you don't want to buy your own torque wrench, you can get one at AutoZone or Advanced Auto, and you could purchase one there, which is their rental program. And then when you're done with it, you can take it back and they'll give you a 100% refund. So it's about as cheap as you get. But you want to torque these according to the specification, 110 torque. The front's a little bit more. I broke it. Did you just see what happened? The torque wrench wasn't locked in quite right, and it wasn't working, and I was tightening as you saw, and I broke the bolt off. What do we do? What do we do? It's Saturday afternoon. The store is closed. Okay. Let's take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Let's learn how to take this bolt out. So click on the link up above. I'll show you how to remove the broken bolt. As you saw, we broke the caliper pin bolts off. You're probably asking, how can you break off the caliper pin bolts? Here I thought torque wrench wasn't set up right. This is why it's important to always double check the specs, no matter who it is. If it's me or anybody else, double check the specs, because I was trying to torque them to 120 or 110 foot-pounds and the spec is 20. So we'll go ahead and torque these, and I stuck a 17 top here. So that one's torqued and that one's torqued. Now we'll go ahead and put the tire back on. Then grab yourself your 22 millimeter socket and breaker bar. Okay, we got them tight. What's next? You guessed it. Make sure you torque them. Now the spec is 140 foot-pounds or 190 newton meters. We'll let the jack down, let the car down, put some weight on so the wheel don't turn, and torque them. Okay, now you have your wheels back on after you change your pads in the rear or the front. You might be asking, what do you do next? You remember, we gotta make sure that cap's back on that bottle if you didn't already stick it on after you left the pressure out. Yep, right here. I didn't have it on. It's on now. Now you start up the car and press on the brake until it's firm. See how it's now nice and firm? Basically the air now is all pumped out, pushed out. So now you just got to take it easy and break these pads in. So with that, another successful job. If you saw this video helpful, give us a thumbs up on your way out. And if you have an Enclave and you would like to see some other maintenance ideas and things that I'm going to be doing in the future, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell. That way you'd be notified whenever we change the air filter. We're going to change the oil, all kinds of different things. So until next time, you have yourself a great day.